I never thought a rusty old Datsun would change my life forever." James Parker wiped a tear from his eye as he stood next to the gleaming restored classic car, now worth over $1.2 million. That's why you should never judge someone's worth by what you see on the surface. If this story of unexpected transformation touches your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more incredible real-life journeys that remind us of what truly matters. The rain pelted down mercilessly on James Parker's shoulders as he hunched over the engine of his ancient Datsun 240Z. The once vibrant orange paint had faded to a patchy rust color that matched the actual rust eating away at the wheel wells. At 38, James hadn't imagined this would be his life, a single father working 3 jobs, living in a small apartment in the industrial part of town, and driving a car that most people would consider scrap metal. "Come on, baby. Just start for me one more time," he whispered, his fingers numb from the cold as he adjusted something under the hood. His 8-year-old daughter Lily waited patiently in the passenger seat, her small backpack clutched to her chest. They were already late for school, and his shift at the warehouse started in 45 minutes. The engine coughed, sputtered, then roared to life with a sound that was startlingly powerful compared to the car's decrepit appearance. James slammed the hood down with practiced precision, too hard and it wouldn't latch, too soft and it would pop up again. "We did it, kiddo," he called out as he slid into the driver's seat, water dripping from his worn jacket onto the cracked leather seat. Lily's smile was bright despite the gloomy day. "Dad, you always make it work." Those 6 words carried James through most days. Making things work was what he did best, whether it was stretching his paycheck to cover rent and food, juggling his impossible schedule, or keeping this $300 junk heap running to get them where they needed to go. What no one could see, what no one bothered to look for beneath the rusted exterior and mismatched body panels, was that under the hood of this seemingly worthless car beat the heart of a mechanical masterpiece. James was a gifted engineer who had lost everything in a bitter divorce and custody battle that left him with mounting legal debt, a damaged career, and full responsibility for Lily after her mother simply disappeared one day. The one thing he refused to part with was the engine he had been perfecting for years. A completely custom-built, twin-turbocharged inline-6 that could outperform engines in cars costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was his magnum opus, his proof that he wasn't a failure, hidden inside a car that cost less than a decent smartphone. That rainy morning marked the beginning of a collision course with destiny, though James couldn't have known it as he dropped Lily off at school with a quick hug and promised to be on time for her science fair that evening. His first stop was Downtown Motors, the luxury car dealership where he worked as a night janitor. During the day, the gleaming showroom was filled with salespeople in expensive suits and customers who never looked him in the eye. He was coming in early to finish some work he hadn't completed the night before. As James pulled into the back lot where employee vehicles were hidden from the customer's view, he didn't notice the sleek black Bentley parked nearby or the woman watching him from inside it. Alexandra Vega had built her fortune from nothing, transforming a small inheritance into a tech empire worth billions. At 42, she was known for her ruthless business acumen, impeccable taste, and complete lack of patience for anything she deemed substandard. She had come to Downtown Motors to discuss a potential investment in the dealership chain, expanding her already diverse portfolio. When she saw James's car rattle into the lot, she couldn't help but stare in disbelief. The sound coming from under that hood was unmistakable to someone who collected performance vehicles as a hobby. It was like hearing a world-class opera singer performing in a dilapidated community theater. The incongruity was jarring. "What in God's name is that?" she muttered to herself, her curiosity piqued in a way it hadn't been for years. James was unaware of her scrutiny as he grabbed his janitorial supplies from the trunk. Just as he was about to head inside, the hood release cable, jury-rigged for the 100th time, gave way, and the hood popped up slightly. "Damn it," he sighed, setting down his bucket to secure it properly. That's when he heard the click of expensive heels on asphalt behind him. "Excuse me," came a confident female voice. "Is that actually a Datsun 240Z under all that character?" James turned to see a woman who looked completely out of place in the employee parking lot. Her tailored charcoal suit probably cost more than his monthly rent, and the watch on her wrist could have paid off his remaining legal debts. "It is," he replied cautiously, wondering if he was about to be reported for bringing an eyesore onto the pristine dealership property. "She's not pretty, but she gets us where we need to go." Alexandra's perfectly shaped eyebrow arched. "I heard it coming in. That doesn't sound like any stock 240Z I've ever heard." James hesitated. Most people just laughed at his car. Nobody had ever actually listened to it. "It's modified," he said simply, moving to close the hood. "May I?" Alexandra gestured toward the engine compartment. James shrugged, stepping aside. What did it matter if this rich woman wanted to get a laugh at his expense? He'd heard it all before. Alexandra stepped forward and peered under the hood. Her expression transformed from mild curiosity to genuine shock as she took in the immaculately built engine nestled in the shabby engine bay. Even to her knowledgeable eye, this was something extraordinary. "This is incredible," she said softly, almost to herself. "Who built this?" "I did," James replied, a hint of pride breaking through his weariness. "Designed it too." Alexandra turned to look at him more carefully, reassessing the man in the janitor's uniform with new interest. "You're joking. This is a masterpiece of engineering. The intercooler placement alone is revolutionary, and that's a completely custom intake manifold." James couldn't hide his surprise. "You know engines?" Alexandra laughed, a genuine sound that softened her sharp features. "I own 17 performance cars and race on weekends. Yes, I know engines." She extended her hand. "Alexandra Vega." James wiped his palm on his uniform before shaking her hand. "James Parker. And I'd better get to work before I'm late for my shift." "You work here?" she asked, looking at the luxury dealership. "Night janitor," he said simply, picking up his bucket again. "And warehouse worker during the day. And weekend mechanic at Miller's garage." Alexandra's eyes narrowed slightly. 3 jobs? That seems excessive for someone with your obvious technical abilities. James wasn't interested in explaining his life story to a stranger, no matter how knowledgeable she might be about engines. Bills don't pay themselves. "Excuse me, Ms. Vega." As he walked away, Alexandra called after him. "I'm meeting with the owner this morning. Perhaps you could join us." James turned back, confusion evident on his face. "I'm the janitor." "And apparently an engineering genius hiding in plain sight," she replied smoothly. "I think Martin would be interested to know what kind of talent he has cleaning his toilets." The meeting that followed changed the trajectory of James's life. Martin Coleman, the owner of Downtown Motors, was initially annoyed at the interruption until Alexandra explained what she had discovered. "You're telling me you want this janitor in our meeting?" Martin asked incredulously. "I'm telling you that if you don't recognize the asset you have in your midst, I'll happily hire him myself," Alexandra replied coolly. "That engine is worth more than your quarterly profits." James sat uncomfortably in the plush conference room, acutely aware of his uniform and the lingering scent of cleaning products. As Alexandra pressed him for details about his background, the truth slowly emerged. Mechanical engineering degree from MIT, Martin read from the hastily pulled personnel file, his expression shifting from skepticism to shock. Patents pending on 3 different automotive technologies. "Why the hell are you working as a janitor?" James stared at his calloused hands. "Life happens. Divorce, custody battle, legal fees. Sometimes you do what you have to do to keep a roof over your kid's head." Alexandra leaned forward. "And you built that engine during all this?" "It kept me sane," James admitted. "I work on it when Lily's asleep. It's the one thing that's still mine." Something in Alexandra's expression shifted. Behind the polished exterior of a billionaire businesswoman, there was a flicker of recognition. "I started my company in my garage while working 3 jobs," she said quietly. The difference is, I didn't have anyone depending on me. The meeting ended with an unexpected proposal. Alexandra wanted to create a new division within her company focused on next-generation automotive technology, and she wanted James to lead it. The salary she offered was more than all three of his current jobs combined. "This is a joke, right?" James asked, certain there was a catch. "I don't joke about business, Mr. Parker," Alexandra replied. "That engine represents innovation that could revolutionize the performance car market. I want it, and I want the mind that created it." James thought of Lily, of the science fair he was determined not to miss that evening, of the years of struggling to provide her with even the basics. "I need to think about it," he said finally. "And I have to be at my daughter's science fair tonight at 6. Alexandra's smile was surprisingly warm. "Family first. I respect that. Take 24 hours. As James drove his battered Datsun to pick up Lily that afternoon, his mind raced with possibilities. Could this be real? Could his life change so dramatically in a single day? Lily was waiting at the school entrance, her science project, a detailed model of a combustion engine she had built with her father's guidance, clutched carefully in her small hands. "Dad! You're early," she exclaimed as she climbed into the car. "Wouldn't miss your big moment for anything, kiddo," he replied, helping her secure the project in the back seat. "How about we grab some ice cream before heading to the fair?" Lily's eyes widened. "On a weekday? But you always say that's for special occasions." James smiled, his heart full. "Today might just be the most special occasion we've had in a long time." They sat in the small ice cream shop, Lily happily devouring a chocolate sundae while James tried to explain the day's events in terms an 8-year-old could understand. "So this rich lady wants you to build car engines for her?" Lily asked, chocolate smeared on her cheek. "Something like that," James nodded. "But it would mean big changes. Good changes, I think. We could move to a better apartment. You could go to that school with the big science program you liked." Lily considered this seriously, scraping the last of the ice cream from her bowl. "Would you still have to work at night and be tired all the time?" The question hit James hard. Children noticed everything. "No, sweetie. I'd have one job, with normal hours. I could pick you up from school every day." "Then you should do it," Lily declared with the simple clarity of childhood. "Because I miss you when you're working all the time." The science fair was a success. Lily's engine model won first place in her grade, and as they were celebrating, James was shocked to see Alexandra Vega enter the school gymnasium, looking somewhat out of place among the parents in her designer outfit. "Ms. Vega?" James approached her, puzzled. "What are you doing here?" Alexandra seemed almost embarrassed. "I hope you don't mind. I wanted to see the science fair you mentioned. It's been years since I've attended one." Before James could respond, Lily bounded up to them. "Dad! Mrs. Johnson said my engine was the best she's ever seen from a third grader." "This must be the famous Lily," Alexandra said, kneeling down slightly to be at eye level with the child. "I'm Alexandra. I saw your engine model. The attention to detail is impressive." Lily beamed. "My dad taught me all about engines. He says understanding how things work is the first step to making them better." Alexandra glanced up at James with newfound respect. "Your father is very wise." As the evening concluded, Alexandra walked with them to the parking lot, where James's battered Datsun sat among minivans and SUVs. "I've been thinking about your offer," James said as Lily climbed into the passenger seat. "And?" Alexandra prompted. "I'll accept on one condition," he stated firmly. "I need flexibility for my daughter. School events, doctor appointments, sick days, she comes first." Alexandra's response was immediate. "Family-friendly policies are standard at my company. I built it that way intentionally." She paused, looking at the old Datsun. And what about this? Will you restore it properly now? James ran his hand along the rusted fender, memories flooding back. This was my father's car. He taught me everything I know about engines in this very vehicle. It might look like junk, but it's family, Alexandra finished for him, understanding in her eyes. I have a restoration shop as part of my collection. Consider it a signing bonus. As they drove home that night, Lily fell asleep against the worn seat, her science fair ribbon clutched in her small hand. James looked at his daughter, then at the road ahead, feeling for the first time in years that they were driving towards something better rather than just surviving another day. The transition wasn't seamless. James struggled with imposter syndrome in his new role, while Alexandra had to learn that not everyone operated at her relentless pace. They clashed frequently over design approaches and timelines, their different backgrounds creating friction. But beneath the professional tension lay a growing mutual respect. Alexandra came to value James's practical, resourceful approach to engineering problems, while he admired her visionary thinking and business acumen. 6 months into the job, James's engine design was ready for prototype testing. The team gathered at the company's private track, where a test vehicle had been fitted with James's creation. "This is it," Alexandra said, standing beside him as the test driver prepared to take the first lap. "Your moment of truth." James nodded, too nervous to speak. Everything he had worked for, all the late nights and sacrifices, had led to this moment. The car roared to life, the sound pure and powerful, before launching down the track with breathtaking acceleration. Lap after lap, the engine performed flawlessly, exceeding even the most optimistic projections for power, efficiency, and reliability. When the final test was complete, the engineering team erupted in applause. James stood stunned, unable to process that his creation, born in poverty and built in stolen moments between exhausting jobs, had proven itself on a professional test track. Alexandra approached him, extending her hand formally. "Congratulations, Mr. Parker. You've just revolutionized performance engine design." Instead of shaking her hand, James surprised them both by pulling her into a quick hug. "Thank you for seeing what no one else did." Alexandra stiffened momentarily before returning the embrace. "Thank you for reminding me why I started my company in the first place. To find the extraordinary hiding in plain sight." The engine went into limited production, with a waiting list of exclusive clients willing to pay premium prices for James's revolutionary design. His patents, now properly filed and protected, ensured that his future, and Lily's, was secure. 1 year after that rainy morning when Alexandra first heard the incongruous sound of a masterpiece engine in a junk car, she invited James and Lily to her estate for a surprise. "Is this where you live?" Lily gasped as they drove through elaborate gates toward a stunning modern mansion. "It's like a castle." "It's just a house, Lily," Alexandra replied with unusual softness. "A big, empty house most of the time." In the massive garage that housed Alexandra's collection of exotic and rare vehicles, a car sat under a cover in the center of the space. "I have something for both of you," Alexandra announced, gripping the edge of the cover. With a flourish, she pulled it away to reveal James's Datsun 240Z, completely restored to concours condition, its orange paint gleaming under the lights. James stood speechless. The restoration was perfect, every detail exactly as the car would have looked rolling off the production line in 1970, with one key difference: under the hood sat his revolutionary engine, now refined and perfected. "You kept the heart but healed the body," Alexandra explained, watching his reaction carefully. "I thought it was an appropriate metaphor." Lily ran to the car, pressing her face against the immaculate paint. "It's so beautiful. Can we drive it, Dad?" James turned to Alexandra, emotion making it difficult to speak. "I don't know how to thank you." "You already have," she replied simply. "You reminded me that true value isn't always visible on the surface. Sometimes you have to look deeper." As James took Lily for the first drive in the restore,